My name is Sarah Keel. I'm the founding executive director of Renew Clinic. I was hired by the board of directors through the Knox County Church Network. However, when I was hired, Renew didn't have a website. We didn't have a building. I had to figure out branding for a business card, so all of that was developed really from the ground up from whenever I was hired. And by God's grace, He's been with me the entire way because I did not know what I was doing. I never led a ministry before. I never led, let alone a treatment center before, starting something from the ground up. And so it goes to show that God can truly equip us and walk us through anything that He calls us to do, even if we've never done it before. I remember before I was hired, this was during COVID, I didn't know if I was up for the responsibility of leading an entire ministry. And because I was approached prior to being hired. And I was ready to just homeschool my kids and kind of, shut the world out during COVID and keep my kids at home and just be a stay-at-home mom and have a garden and be content with that. And I prayed and I said, Lord, if you want me to do this, I will walk through the door. But if this is not your will, I need you to make it very clear. I need you to shut the door. And so the Lord kept the door open and I walked through as I said I would. And that was 5 years ago. The Lord did reveal Himself to me when I was in jail through the preaching of the gospel from a prison ministry. And so something was birthed inside of me there where I had an experiential reality hit me square between the eyes that Jesus Christ is the healer of addiction and is the redeemer of souls. And so what I wanted to do is work in an industry that I was very familiar with because I'd gone to all the counseling centers, I'd gone to the treatment centers, I'd done all those things. But that was all in the secular industry. And I realized working in those fields, I want to be able to freely talk about Jesus and to point people to the living water in this industry that is very secular. I'm not going to tiptoe around it. But where we're at today is Renew Clinic has a building. It's beautiful. We have an amazing team. It's odd because we're at the best place we've ever been, and I can see that my assignment here is coming to an end. It's helpful to know how God's made you and what your gifts and talents are. It helps you hear from the Lord and hear His direction and kind of know what the next steps are for your life, to know where you're needed in the body. And I realize that God has made me a builder. He has made me as a starter or a missionary. And I was approached about a year ago by our brother ministry, sister ministry, however you want to say it, S2L Recovery in Middle Tennessee, about them starting this inpatient, Christ-centered women's extension of their ministry. And I said no for about a year. And one of the things that allowed me to feel released from Renew is that Renew is at a place that I actually could step away and leadership could step in. New leadership can step in. Whenever I was thinking about starting up, what it would take to start up a treatment center, a Christ-centered treatment center, leading a ministry, accomplishing all the visions that I saw in my head, I thought it was going to be harder than it has been. Don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of challenges, there's been a lot of sleepless nights, but because Christ has been with me along the way, it has happened naturally. I've been surprised and blown away at the generosity of people who've come around this ministry, the support of the churches, the support of government. We started out with support. I'm realizing now that's not common. The greatest blessing has been the people that I work with, the pastors that I get to rub shoulders with and have grown very fond of and close with. The fact that I have brothers and sisters that I'm very close with in so many different churches here. It's not just like one church. And God has really grown like love in my heart for my team. And that's a blessed experience to like love a group of people so much that are all so different. That's a gift. Two things that need to remain within Renew Clinic's culture and commitment for it to not change what it is. Number one, that we practice what we preach relationally with each other, that we're speaking honestly with each other as a staff, that we're working through the hard things, that we're giving and receiving honest feedback. There is a high expectation of integrity. There is a high expectation of excellence and character, but not in a dogmatic way, because we're all very broken and stumble in many ways. And so it's also like having that high expectation of excellence, but also having tremendous grace. I believe that we have more excellence than other places I've observed, but I also believe we have more grace than other atmospheres that I've been a part of and have observed. And I think that the culture that we create here as a staff, the commitment we have to each other, it's going to affect the whole brand, especially the participants. And number two, that we do not stray from our commitment to the superiority of the gospel to transform lives, to not start giving ground to secular ideas, to not start giving ground to, scientism, which would say that medical and clinical practice are superior to what theology can provide for us. And so I think those two commitments need to stay. Our culture and our commitment to the gospel. My charge to the future employees, the future director, is to not be ashamed of the gospel. And I'm not giving a pat answer here. The churches have historically, even recently, just cowered down to secularism and philosophies of this age. To do your homework, to know how to respond and how to argue for the sake of the gospel to transform lives, to understand and have knowledge for the hope that we have in Jesus, to fight the good fight relationally with your brothers and sisters, to not divide so easily, and to give tremendous grace where you just want to shut the world out, and to continue to pray that God fills your heart with love. And my ongoing prayer would be that fruit continue to come and flourish and be invasive in this community, and that the staff remains bonded together in unity and perfect peace.